What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Halo Infinite. My thoughts, not necessarily a review because I haven't beaten the campaign yet. I've definitely played this game enough to talk about it, but whenever I debate whether I want to, review something or not, I think in order to review it, I would probably have had to have played the full story. So I want to, make sure you guys are all on the same page. I don't want to mislead anybody in any way, but I do have some things to say about Halo's campaign. Obviously, that's what this video is going to be talking about. So, here's the deal. The open world stuff is weird. It's weird because I think I do overall like this game. I would say I like the campaign. I don't think I would say I love it. The story itself is definitely strong. Like, you can tell there's stuff put into it. I would say it's probably the strongest of the three that 343 have done, right? 4, 5, and then now this. I think it's the strongest. And again, I haven't beaten it all, and I'm almost done. But I just haven't beaten, the entire thing. And so I do think it, stands a little bit ahead of the last ones. And the open world stuff, though, is really, what I think everybody's talking about, right? Now, I think there's a lot of gray area in the open world. It's odd because, when the reviews came out for it, it's getting all these very high scores, and people are talking about the open world so strongly. I think the open world has its strengths and then also has its weaknesses. It really puts the emphasis on movement. It puts its emphasis on the gameplay and like I was gonna say minute to minute. I guess you can call it that, right? But the gunplay, switching, driving from point A to point B, and just doing these tasks and mixing it up, right? Because you can handle these things a variety of ways, like any FOB or when you're trying to help like a fire team out or whatever, right? You can do literally whatever you want. And in that way, I think it's actually really appealing and it's really fun. And granted, I would say I'm kind of on maybe the negative end of the open world where I don't think, I would say this, I don't think the open world is necessary whatsoever. However, with that being said, I find myself continuously, wanting to play it. So what does that say? I think ultimately that's the quality of a good game, is making you want to go back in and play more. And that actually is what the campaign makes me want to do. Although, you see all of the, whenever you do an FOB, right? And it kind of unlocks that part of the map where you can see everything. Like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, let's just do the same tasks over and over again. But then again, I find myself doing them. And I find myself having fun in the minute-to-minute gunplay and, like, planning strategies, or like, oh, which weapons am I going to use, or I'm going to steal a vehicle for this one, or, what am I going to do? I find myself doing that each and every time, even though I think my overall mindset is I don't know if I don't think I want to be doing this, but I guess I do, right? Because my body is telling me something different. But I do think it's kind of unnecessary. So that's the, I've seen, obviously there's always going to be the Xbox versus PlayStation players, or people online. And there's the people that are like making fun of the game because if you just do the single player, if you just do the story, you just do the story missions, it'll take you like 6 hours. And there's people like making fun of that. It's like, well, I don't know if these guys know this or not, but like Halos are kind of notorious for being short. Like, none of the Halo games are all that long. In fact, if you go back to rewatch, I rewatched some of the story cutscenes from a bunch of these games to get ready, and the cutscenes are like less than an hour for most games, or they're around the hour mark. So these are incredibly short games, and they always have been. And that's kind of the thing for me. I don't mind at all if it's and I guess that's where that debate comes in. I think I would have honestly taken 6 hours, put me in 6 different locations or whatever you want to do, and just give me that story, because I do think the story is overall, powerful and solid enough where if they just did that, I wouldn't be all that upset. Again, though, granted, you can say, well, look, they gave you that. That is there, and you can choose to only do that. You have the multiplayer, and then you could just go around and have fun. Now, I would say that's a little debatable, right? Having fun. I think the world, like, it looks pretty. I think it looks pretty at some points, but overall, I'm not that impressed with the look of it, and getting from point A to point B. I don't really like using vehicles. I do like the Banshees. I mean, once you kind of get to that part of the game, then, getting everywhere is a lot easier because you just hijack, a Banshee, go around. But a lot of the vehicles aren't that helpful getting you to certain places because sometimes you have to, like, climb high cliffs to get to certain, things or objectives in the game. So I find myself just using the grappling hook, and it is, again, it's fun. Like it's, I guess, mechanically sound, but I don't know if I'm like taking it all in and like, oh, the grass looks so great here, or, the dirt or whatever, this looks great here. I don't really know if I'm thinking that. It's more like, okay, let me just get to the next point to do this stuff. It's just more Halo. It's really just more Halo. I saw people saying like this is the Breath of the Wild for Halo. I don't really know if I would agree with that at all, but I guess I can, understand how you feel of it. So, no, I'm honestly, I know I jumped around. I know all of this stuff has been jumping around, but I do like it. I've liked what I've played. I'm enjoying the story. I love Master Chief. I've always loved Master Chief, right? The weapon, she's great. She's awesome. She's a cool little character. Obviously, and I won't say too much more about the character, but there's definitely heart, there's definitely personality, and then the second gameplay things that you're doing and how you decide to, handle situations is fundamentally almost perfect, I would argue. You know what I mean? And that really, for people that are saying, oh, look at Halo, because there's, again, people that will compare it to games longer length, or they'll compare it, like, graphically. I mean, ultimately, I play games that also feel really good, or I want a game to feel good, and no matter how you think about the visuals or the storytelling or whatever, the game fundamentally, feeling-wise, using the guns, killing enemies, planning your attack, it's near perfect. I don't even know what else you could possibly want from it. And then everything else around it, I would say, is pretty serviceable. Oh, and then there's the fact that it's, by the way, free if you have Game Pass. So, I guess, Game Pass, $15, so you're paying $15 for it if you think that, I guess, that way. But, that's another thing to consider, right? 6-hour story, you could easily spend, I've easily spent I've played probably 15 to 20 hours so far, and I'm not done. So you could probably spend 30 hours in this game, I would say, pretty darn easily if you do everything, and you do it all for free or for Game Pass, you know what I mean? So good deal for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all of these videos go up. I do a brand new video on the channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.